Hello, thank you for joining us on this special program dubbed Inclusivity for Women and Girls. I'm your host, Faith Katai. Inclusivity for Women and Girls is a program that highlights the many success stories of some of the women in Zambia. The month of March has been dedicated to celebrating women. Today on the program, I'm privileged to have her owner, Ruth Mbambi, Registrar of the Family and Children's Division of the High Court, and also Her Worship, Emmy Masoja, Resident Magistrate. Both are coming from the judiciary. Her Worships, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So to start with, before we actually get into the details of our interview, I would like us to focus on the theme for this year, for the International Women's Day, which is rights, justice, and action for all women and girls. Her owner, Amy, how do you interpret this theme?
Okay. To interpret the theme, this is the main focus of the rights, justice, and action for all women. And in fact, to state that the campaign theme to be used to work with as well for the events and promotions, it will be give to gain, which encourages the mindset of generosity and collaboration. So, which is very important. So as all women, if all women strive, then we all win, meaning that whether in education, resources, donation, advocacy, meaning that by and the time as well, as we combine all this, meaning that the whole world is supportive and we can give a world of better communication into this. And that's a more reason as part of the judiciary, as under the gender, we have gotten that on the rights of a woman, we thought of that at least we should give it the proper of the generally probate in general, because a lot of women do not understand how they have their right to property and also how it is workable afterwards, after gaining property, the administration of it, and so on. That is the main focus onto it. Thank you.
Great. So getting to our topic for today, for our discussion, which is focusing on probate, property and women's rights in Zambia. Her owner, Ruth, maybe you can make us understand what is probate.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. And just maybe before I get the question, I need to add that we have come from the judiciary, but also we need to point out that we are members of the Chief Justice Advisory Committee on Gender in Development. So back in the judiciary, we deal with gender issues. And so this being women's celebration, it becomes important for us as gender to come and be part of this program. And so just to define probate or to explain what probate is, for the mothers out there, it's basically the power that one would get from court to administer an estate when someone passes on. So it may be an individual, maybe one person, or it can up to 4 people. So those will be appointed by the court to administer the property for the deceased, to ensure that the beneficiaries still have to have their lives going on, having access to them, say, the family assets or income that may have been left by the breadwinner. So that is what we call probate in general. For some people that may not understand the word probate, I think when you bring it down to the local court, they understand when they would say, we're going to appoint an administrator. Basically, we're talking about someone being given the power to administer the property, and so we call it probate. So they can be probate with when someone dies intestate, does not leave a will, or someone dies leaving a will, but both are given letters of administration to administer the estate. They stand in the shoes of the deceased person. So in short, that is what it means.
Wonderful. So then how does Zambia's current probate and property law framework protect the inheritance rights of women and girls? Maybe her own Amy can take that one.
So we've, in Zambia, we really have the law itself, how they are being protected. But I think what really is lacking for our women, they are not sensitized, so they do not even know. As Madam Ruth has said, when someone died intestate, the letters of administration, and when they've died, leaving a will. So those who have been left leaving a will, at least that is something which is true, especially those women who have spouses who have died intestate. They really do not have difficulties on how to access and who is supposed to be appointed administrator, and also who and when and how these things are administered. The law is there. It's the know-how. A number of them do not know that they really can get there. The law is basic and is still there.
Great. So maybe just to add to her honor, she talked about the law.
Yes.
So just to bring it down, we have the Interstate Act and the Wills Act. So these are the provisions, the law that she's referring to. When someone dies without leaving a will, the law that applies is the Interstate Act. And when there's a will that was left, it's the Wills Act. So those are the two major instruments that we have that protect the rights of not just women, even the men. When the woman passes on, that's a law that protects both men and women and children. Yeah.
Okay, so how long do these probate cases typically take? And does it, if it delays, does it become like a form of injustice to the rights of a woman?
Okay, to answer your question, I come from the division that deals with probate. In fact, for applicants that apply within a year, they just file the main what they call the main application. So it will go straight to the judge to adjudicate on the matter and grant letters of administration. When I say letters of administration, I simply mean probate itself. Yeah, the power for one to administer the estate. Yes, but if some families, they don't come to court until over a year when the person passed on. Families will be saying, no, I feel bad, like we're just after property. So they sit back and they wait. So when 1 year lapses, it means you are out of time. The law wants you to apply for probate within a year. But if you delay, you have to apply for leave, then you apply for leave, then once leave is granted, you apply out of time. So once the application is made, it doesn't take long. Our learned judges are actually very keen because we're dealing with people's lives. And we know the kind of agency that these applications come with, because you know that it's a livelihood of people. So our learned judges really put in their all the time, every effort that they can find to just ensure that they expedite these cases. So they don't take long. The matters are heard as quickly as possible. So there's no injustice in that area. Our judges are quite handy when it comes to dealing with probate applications.
Maybe to add also on her, it's when other people look as if it's an injustice, it's they do not know the procedure. That's how they take long. That's the more reason I think for this year's theme, we really want to know the women know their rights, that you can apply within that, as she has said, within that year. If you do not apply, you're out of time. So it is the procedure which they do not know, which we need to take to the women. That's it's supposed to be applied in this, and you can get it expeditiously. I think the judges, as she said, they're very at point to work onto that one, because it helps out children. Sometimes they're still at school, then school fees has to be paid for, their life has to go on, so it is important. So there's really no delay onto that one.
So basically the delay is when you delay as a family to apply. And also the delay may come in when your application is not in order. At times the application comes with errors, and so as a court, you're not processed with the errors that it has. So you want everything to be done properly, and so you send it back. And so it's dependent on the parties to rectify the errors and come back quickly. If the parties delay to come back, it's not the court causing the delay, it's the parties themselves. We wait for them to come back.
Okay, so what steps should a woman take, especially immediately after the death of a spouse or a parent, to protect her property?
What should a woman do? Ordinarily, when there's death, you find that the spouse, especially if it's a woman, they really don't do much, because the family really comes in so powerful. So our discussion or our sensitization today is not for the women to wait until there's death. It's about preparing, because we know that one day either your husband or yourself, you may die. So what have you put in place to protect your property rights as a woman, to protect the rights of children, the property rights of children? So it's an issue that you prepare from the word go. When you get married, how you register the property, and how what programs you put in place. For example, when I say program, I'm thinking issues like maybe put a trust deed for the children, or the man will write a will and give you give some properties to you. So it starts from way back. When there's death, it's really beyond you. Whatever the property, in whichever manner the property is registered, you are really you are at the mercy of how the property is registered. If the property is registered in the names of the husband and is one who's passed on, he's the owner of the property, and so you become now a beneficiary under the act. So at that point, it's the law that is speaking. It's not you. You don't have the power. But in a marriage, you have the power to try and see what you can do to protect your property rights as a woman.
Okay,
So,
Ona, so
yes.
what you're saying is, as a woman, ensure that some of the property should be registered in your name.
Exactly. That
It's
is what is
important.
said. It's very important that at least a woman should learn that, okay, even during my marriage, at least there are properties which are registered in my name. So at least they'll give them the right, because we take it back to culture. Everything the man has to, everything the man has to. That is the problematic area when it comes when they die. So you prepare during the marriage unto it. You have a right of a property. It's registered in your name. So at least you have that right. They should know. A number of women do not know that you've got a right to property. Not all property belongs to the man.
It's
But
the head
also,
of the house.
yes, the head of the house.
Perhaps that question, I need to also add something, because these are common issues that happen in families. Even today, those are common issues on the ground. Where property is registered in the man's name, for example, and the woman did not take any steps to ensure that her property rights are protected. And so there's that scenario. So what should a woman do? I've seen most times that the woman, the widow, takes a backstage, and leaves everything to the family, to the man, to decide, oh, they have the power, they will do all this and that. But you remember that when you're in a marriage, you are also contributing either financially or in kind. So you are equally a property owner of what has been left behind. It's very important for women to be able to speak out, or if they can't speak, have someone speak for them, to ensure that they are also part of the administrators. Yes. Because according to the law, the Interstate Act that we're talking about, it gives the property, who are the beneficiaries, who the beneficiaries are to the property. If the man had a spouse and children and dependents, those are the primary beneficiaries. Yes. And so it's important for the woman to be able to assert her rights and insist that she should be part of the administrators. Because then if you have the woman, the spouse, not being part of the administrators, and the children, you have got adult children and they're not part of the administrators, and you have brothers, sisters, uncles, they are not the beneficiaries according to the law, unless there are no primary beneficiaries. That's when they come in like near relatives, so sisters, brothers, and all that. But when there's an immediate family to the deceased, those are the primary beneficiaries. And so you have a scenario where the brothers, the sisters, the uncles are not beneficiaries, but they're the ones who are the administrators, managing your property. So it brings problems in society in executing or enforcing the law, because you find that now the family, they meet the beneficiaries at the mercy of the administrators, who are not beneficiaries. So it becomes like tug of war. So at death, it's important for the woman to be able to have a voice to say, if you're going to have so and so at the administrator, I need to be part of it, maybe with 1 or 2 children, because you're going to be up to 4 administrators. So it's very important at that point, the woman to be part of one of the people who are administrators of that estate. That is my take for that time. If you didn't do anything in the beginning, the marriage, at that point, that's what you need to do as a woman.
Okay. Yeah. So how can families document property ownership to prevent infringement of the rights to property for the women?
Okay,
I think the same has been answered. Let them some properties be registered in their names, and also the trust fund. They can register some properties in the children, so that you know. When you talk about some trust fund, there are others who would come when the deceased is there. No, this person has died with several children, right? So those are, but at law, they are children. But you need also to protect those children, the others, because there are scenarios which I think we have seen. Others, they'll be fighting, no, I'm also a child, I'm a beneficiary. And others, they say, no, I don't know, you are just coming out from nowhere. And we have ended up wanting to go and exhume those bodies and want to do a DNA test to ascertain that this is a child and to be particularly. So at the inception, they need to be registered. At least let them have the rights, a property given to them and do that.
Great. So, yes. So what implication
I just wanted to add on that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
We are coming from I think our culture also is an issue here. We are coming from a point where we want most of the property to be registered in the names of the man. I think some will look at it in terms of culture, others look in terms of religion, because the Bible says the man is the head of the family, and so the woman steps back. And culture will say the man should lead, the man should all that. Granted. But that doesn't say the woman should not have property rights. The woman, while she's supporting the man, it's okay and it's very necessary and it's very important to have some properties, properties of the family. The parties should agree. Either jointly register the property in both names, or have some properties registered in the husband, some in the wife's name. So that in the event of death, those properties which are registered in the wife's name, those are your property. They're not even subject of his, you're not part of the estate. You have a woman protecting her rights way before the death occurs. So the properties that are in your name are your property. They're not part of the estate. If they're jointly registered, you have two names on the title, and you are joint owners, not tenants in common. That's a different issue. You are joint tenants. It means when your husband dies, you as a surviving spouse, you remain the owner of the property. And so it doesn't form part of the estate. That is one way that women can protect their property rights. If you can also have wills done, you write a will, the man write a will, give your property if it's in his name, or you can do a trust deed for the children so that no one touches property that belongs to the children. Those are things families need to begin to discuss, begin to talk, begin to engage, to ensure that at the time of death, life does not get disrupted, that now what the children had is taken away. Some are through the administrators who are not even the beneficiaries, and they've squandered the property. By the time we realize so much has happened. So it's very important that we do that as women and as Zambians in general.
Okay, so what are the early warnings when it comes to like signs or indicators that property grabbing or rights violation may occur?
The warnings, and then I'll say and then she will top up. I'll say a few and then she will top up. These warning signs. Women know the warning signs. You know, I like when you say women are given the sixth sense. You know, they have that extra sense. You can see, it starts from where you are, the environment where you are, the marriage where you are. Sometimes you can see a very family that is very, there's an animosity towards you. They don't support you, they fight you. And then you see your husband doesn't want you to have anything in your name. Already know those are red signs that where I'm going, things may not be good. Yeah, and you can be working and contributing and building, getting loans, doing whatever you are doing. No matter what you put in, if there's no will and there's no protection on the property, you have not put measures, yours is 20%. As simple as that.
Yes, I think it's exactly that. Because from the inception, you may see family setups. Some families, no matter where you go, you said, okay, not our brother. It's all about our brother, but what about you? You're also part of the brother and part of contribution. Sometimes it's something you see from the beginning that, okay, I think I'm sensing this. There are scenarios where it's, okay, fine. Taking, for example, you're organizing a function, just a family function. No, they don't want you. But maybe the elder brother is the head of the house. Let them give you the responsibility to that, knowing that they're accommodating you. Already there, the upside. Like, no, there'll be this one giving that. You just are indicators. What if at the end result? Meaning that I'll be left out. So these indicators start just from the beginning. You see the sideline. What if this man dies? What will happen to me? Definitely, the way she said, that even the time they're sitting, no, we are having a family meeting. They don't include you. So those are indicators, even from the setup, the way we are setting up. That's why we say it's a mindset. It comes to the mindset. The generosity you can even see. How are we collaborating within the family? So those are the number of indicators that start from there. So a woman can read, by the end of the time, I think this is where I'm going. Other men do not want to disclose. They bought property they don't want to disclose. Trusting. They don't even have a trust. They will disclose to the sister. When they come, no, there was this, you don't know, you are not part of it. So those are indicators. They should be from the inception.
Great. So what is the legal implication of one who fails to actually follow the law or the order?
So which one?
For the same, probate.
Okay, so I'm understanding your question to me, and that someone has been appointed administrator, and they don't comply with the law.
Yes.
I think for me, that's the elephant in the room that we're dealing with now. The law is there, quite all right. But it's the issue is about enforcement. We have administrators being appointed every day, every now and then. You know, in the past when people would go to local court, administrators would be appointed, but there's no mechanism to monitor that the women are actually getting their 20%. There's no sensitization for the administrators to ensure that they understand what the law provides and what is this 20%. Some people just think 20% is just the money that is in the bank account. It's 20% of the entire estate. The vehicles, the houses, you quantify them, the value. And then you see what is 20% of all this. That belongs to the woman. So the issue is enforcement. With the administrators appointed, but what happens out there, no one knows. There's no mechanism to report back. There's no obligation to report back. The only obligation comes in when the beneficiaries come to court, they sue the administrator, either to have him revoked as an administrator or to have him account to how he has administered the estate. But how many come? Very few.
Very few.
Very few. The majority are suffering in silence, and yet the law has not been complied with, and they will just say, it's okay, whatever they give me, it's okay. It's okay, they can get. That is what the woman is suffering right now. Yes, it's a woman who has been doing business, has been working, has been contributing. In the end, they woke up with very little or with nothing because the enforcement mechanism is lacking. We do not ensure that the administrators understand the law and they comply with the law. And there's no obligation to come back immediately unless there's a complaint. Okay. That is where we have a problem, really.
Okay, so are perpetrators often prosecuted or they are just left unpunished?
For those who are reported, they are prosecuted, like maybe when you deprive beneficiary. Because what we understand, an administrator has to do his duties. So those duties, they should be a mechanism which it should be seen that this administrator is really doing. If they're reported, they're prosecuted. As she has said, a number of them, others will just go silently. They don't want to report when they're being deprived.
Okay. So the one she's talking about when they're reported, there's a provision in the Penal Code on depriving beneficiaries. So when the matter is reported, they can be prosecuted. But apart from the criminal procedure, there's that civil procedure. Yes. But the thing is, people don't come forward because mostly some are threatened with witchcraft. Is it your property? Or you'll see if you try. So people sit back. And that is where we're seeing a lot of injustice for women, because if you look at our country, we've done well in terms of education, the girl child education and all that. I think we're doing fairly well. When you look at employment, we're doing fairly well. Women are in all these influential positions. There are so many women at places of work. But it's property rights, and mostly for married women, because of the dynamics of marriage. Or you have to, is the man, I can't say much, I can't do what. In the end, you suffer as a woman. Your property rights are trampled upon.
Okay, great. So as we come to the end of the program, what would be your message to women out there in terms of the international commemoration of the International Women's Day? What is your message? How worship, Amy, maybe you can chip in.
Okay. I think my message out there to all women, they should know that they've got the right on property. And they should not shy away from finding out more, because there are a number where they can be explained to. I know when when we're coming from the judiciary, everyone either say, no, I can't go to the judiciary. But we have these other organizations which are out there. Like we take the National Legal Aid Clinic for Women. I think they can go and find out and understand, how am I supposed to go about this property rights. I engage that let women stand up and know that they can own property and it's their right.
Her honor.
Okay. I'm sitting back and I'm thinking, what do I want the women to know? From my part, I want women to learn to assert their rights. It's very important at every point. I know people will say, she's in mourning. If I set my rights, they'll say, I want money, I'm interested in money. That's not the case. The law, I want the women out there to understand the law gives them a right to own property, to get their 20%. So when you assert yourself, you set your right to get that which belongs to you. It doesn't mean you're not mourning at all. But you need to mourn knowing that your property rights are not taken away. You mourn knowing that this I'm going to protect for my children and for yourself. you know. So it's very important that women assert their rights, and it's also very important for women to be able to take action in the beginning. Don't wait until things get messed up. Why am I saying this? When when there's a death, when they want to appoint an administrator, the family will sit, have a meeting, because we insist on having family minutes. The family will sit to choose the people whom they want to be appointed administrators. At that point, the woman should indicate that I should be part of the people who are going to be administrators in the event that the family tries to sideline her. If the family refuses, remember there's a requirement to advertise when you want to apply for administrator, to be appointed administrator. As a woman, you can object. If they don't allow in that meeting, when the advert is made and you are aware, you can file an objection that you don't want this to be appointed because you've been left out because you're the primary beneficiary. At that point, the court will hear you and include you as one of the administrators. So you prevent the estate being wasted. By the time you wake up, want to do things, they've sold the properties, have scattered everything here and there, and there's really nothing that you can get. So it's important at the beginning, women assert their rights.
Her worships, thank you so much for coming through to the program.
You're welcome.
Thank you
It's
for
a
having us
pleasure.
as well.
Really appreciate it. Viewers, that's all we had for you on Inclusivity for Women and Girls. This has been Faith Katai on behalf of the entire Zanis production team. It's goodbye.